And all the people around told him, "What are you doing? Don't get this place, even though it's great parnasa." There are villagers nearby who are great sorcerers. They do kishuf, and anybody who takes the place to rent doesn't even live out the year. Okay, so this story is a story which we don't get to do often because normally I don't get stories of the Alter Rebbe, but the story of the Alter Rebbe, so yeah, close to home, figuratively at least. So, in a town near Liadi, there was a certain young man who had the privilege of being able to be supported by his father-in-law, who was very rich, and he was able to learn Torah and daven and focus on his avodas Hashem. But eventually, like all stories have to have like three components. Yeah, there's 3 components. Loses money, or the parents got angry, or something. One of those.
His father was broke.
Right. So
That's losing the money.
so his father-in-law loses his money. Father-in-law loses his money, and now he has to go and find work. So he decides he's going to go to the market. He buys a bunch of merchandise to sell. And on his way back, he's passing by a certain forest near Liadi. And and it's right before Shavuos. And he remembers, I always go to my Rebbe for Shavuos. What am I going to do? It seems that he wasn't able to go to Liadi with all his merchandise in the wagon. So he says, I have to go to my Rebbe. He decides he's going to leave his wagon over Shavuos in that place in the forest and just walk to Liadi. And he gets to Liadi, he gets to the Beis Medrash of the Alter Rebbe by Mincha, already close to time of Yom Tiv. And the Alter Rebbe sees him without even saying a word, having exchanging any words. Alter Rebbe looks to his son, the Mittler Rebbe, later on, and he says, this person you could call Chassidut Mesiras Nefesh. So, to hear such a thing without even exchanging any words, the Alter Rebbe's son is very intrigued. He goes and asks the Chassid what happened, and the Chassid tells him what he did. So after Yom Tiv, the Chassid, he doesn't say in the story, but I'm sure he had a beautiful Yom Tiv, and he goes to the Alter Rebbe after Yom Tiv, and the Alter Rebbe tells him, don't worry, all your merchandise is going to remain intact. You're going to go back and you're going to see it's fine. So now this Chassid, this young man, tells the Alter Rebbe, what should I do about business? All the business I'm going to have to do is now going to take away from my ability to do Torah mitzvahs. So the Alter Rebbe says, go ahead and take buy an inn. Buy an inn, and you have a bar, a place where you can serve mashka. Your wife will be behind the counter. You can still,
Call that kretschma.
A kretschma, right? This is one of the components that are in stories. Here we have 2. So, and that's what happened. And so he says, okay. The chassid goes on his way. He comes back to the forest, and lo and behold, all the stuff are still there. Now, it happened to be that there was a nobleman passing by, and he happened to see that there's a bunch of merchandise on a wagon, unattended, and this Orthodox Jew comes by and takes the wagon. So the nobleman approaches the Jew and says, one second, you just left the merchandise here, how did you leave it alone? So this chassid starts to laugh, and he says, well, it was here for 3 days. So the guy says, what do you mean, how did you leave here for 3 days? So he said, well, I have a Rebbe, and it was important to me. And this guy was so, this nobleman was so impressed, and he said, it seems to me that you're a really sincere and trustworthy guy. I have an inn, and a kretschma, right, that I want to sell, that I want to rent out. Please go ahead and will you rent it for me? And so the guy, he agrees. He goes home. He sells the other merchandise he had, and he goes and he starts to rent the money. But he tells this young man tells the parrots, the nobleman, I don't have any money to give you. I don't have any money to buy this stuff. So he says, don't worry, I'll give you all the money. You'll pay me back. Because he saw he was a trustworthy person. So, And he goes and he starts renting. Now the thing was that once he started renting it out and he started doing business, and all the people around told him, "What are you doing? Don't get this place." Even though it's great parnasa, there are villagers nearby who are great sorcerers. They do kishuv, and anybody who takes the place to rent doesn't even live out the year. They don't live out the year. So now he understands why it's not being rented and why it needs to be rented. But he says, listen, the Alter Rebbe tells me to get this in. I know that nothing bad can happen. I'm not scared of the kishuv. And he goes and he makes money. He made a lot of money. He was able to pay the nobleman back very quickly. But half a year passes by and he starts to get sick. And he gets sicker and sicker until he can hardly go. And he realizes something is going on because of the sorcerers. And he somehow finds a way to travel to the Alter Rebbe. And at night, he was so sick that he couldn't go for Shabbos by night to daven. And by the day, he strengthened himself. He was able to muster the strength to go to shul. And the Alter Rebbe, when it came to a certain aliyah, and the Alter Rebbe used to lean the Torah, he used to read the Torah himself. He said, "Call this young man here." And it was incredible because the Alter Rebbe didn't even know he had visited. He wasn't notified that he visited. Of course he knew, but he wasn't notified. So the Alter Rebbe calling him, anyways, he goes up to the Torah, and the Alter Rebbe got to the part in this is Parshas Balak, that says, which means that there's no divinations by the Jews, and there's no magic, there's no sorcery by the Yidden. And at that point, the Alter Rebbe puts his head backwards, and like it was his way, he came in an incredible dveikus, incredible level of concentration. His his face became red, and his eyes were bulging out of his face, like what happened to Alter Rebbe. And he said the pasuk a few times with intense concentration. And after Shabbos, this young man felt like he was getting better. And he told the Rebbe and told him everything is going on. And the Alter Rebbe tells him, "Don't worry, you'll be strong because this stuff doesn't apply to Yidden." And he said the same pasuk again a few times with a lot of concentration. He went home, and as he was traveling home, he already felt like he was totally better. And he got to his house, and the Yidden around his house told him, "Did you hear what happened to these villagers who are sorcerers? Right away, they died at the same time, just randomly, suddenly." And he asked them when did it happen. They said it was Shabbos in the morning. And he said, already in Liadi, I felt this in the moment that I went to that I went up for the Aliyah. So this is an incredible story of the Alter Rebbe, and may we.
We know that Goyim have no power over us.
Yes, and nobody has power as long as we have the koyach of the Torah, and may all our enemies drop dead like these sorcerers did. May we see Mashiach Tzidkenu right away, and the Tvach. Smash the like button, all the good stuff.
And now for some bloopers.
Thank you, Mendy. By the way, guys, Mendy has entered the chat.
The room.
By the way, here you have Mendy live. I'm just saying. You remember Mendy who interrupts all the stories? Remember Mendy? That's Mendy.